All right, guys, so one of the things that you're going to have to do for the debate is to find some documents that you can use to support your claim when referencing some of the topics listed on the rubric that I passed out. So I wanted to give you guys an example. So I'm going to take on the role of a Federalist, and I'm going to use Alexander Hamilton to support my argument for why there needs to be a national bank. So in my research, I'm going to go, to Google or whatever search engine you prefer, and look up some documents that Alexander Hamilton wrote or maybe spoke on regarding the constitutionality of a national bank. And once I find one, I'm going to save that to my iPad and preferably save it as a PDF so that you can go in and edit it. As you can see here, on my list of files, I can just come down here to the bottom right-hand portion of my screen where my files are. I can then open up my files, come over here, I find Hamilton's Constitutionality of a National Bank. I would recommend saving these documents. Start by writing the last name of the person that you're using, and then fill in the topic being addressed. So you can see that here, Hamilton, Constitutionality of a National Bank, because when you guys go to upload these into the Canvas assignment, when I'm going through and grading, it's going to be a lot easier for me to see oh, this is the document, this who wrote it, and what is it about. So once I click, I'm going to hold down on the document. I'm going to come up here into the top right-hand corner with the share button, and then I'm going to share it to Notability. If you don't have Notability downloaded on your computer, come see me, I can help you do that, but you do it through Mozel. So once I click Notability, hopefully it will allow me to import that into Notability, and then I can just simply click Open Note. And then once I open the note, then I should be able to go in there and see the document, and then I can make my highlighted marks. So I want you guys to do this. So within your documents, if you want full points for the research portion of your debate, you need to do this with 3 documents. So once I've got the document open, I want you guys to go in. I want you to underline or highlight or star key pieces of the document, specifically focusing in on the portion of the document that you're going to paraphrase in your own writing. Because remember, you have points coming from participation in the debate, and then you have points coming from the research portion where you're actually going to have to type up a document similar to what we would be doing with a DBQ, where you are paraphrasing the content of a document and then using that to support an argument that you're making. So for me, I'm a Federalist, so my argument is a national bank is legal. Not only is it legal, but it is constitutionally supported, and I'm going to use this document to support that claim. So read through your document. If you want to use your highlighter, obviously you can kind of change whatever color of highlighter you want. I like Notability because when you drag out a line and hold it down, it'll snap straight. So highlighting the document is really easy. Go through the document and find stuff that kind of stands out to you. So for example, up here at the top, you've got Alexander Hamilton. What is he, or who is he? He is the Secretary of the Treasury, and he's also talking with or to the Attorney General. Okay, if you go down a little bit further now, I've already read through this document, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick example. You can see that he's specifically directing his argument to the Secretary of the Treasury, and I think it would also be important if you go in and include stuff like this, because at the time, Thomas Jefferson was the Secretary of the Treasury. So you can see that he's going in and he's creating an argument specifically with Thomas Jefferson. And you can go through, you can read through the article, try to find out some information that could be used to support that in your document. And for example, it says here, namely, that every power vested in the government is in its nature sovereign and includes by force of the term a right to employ all means requisite. Okay, so for Alexander Hamilton, This is an ability that the federal government has because, by definition, our government is sovereign. It is sovereign because our government has been chosen by the people. Okay? Scan through your document, look for other information that you could use to support your argument. I'm going to go down a little bit further because I know that this paragraph is kind of where the meat and potatoes are. Right here, this is what I'm going to zoom in on, and this is what I'm going to use when making an argument for the constitutionality of a national bank. It says, first of these arguments is that the foundation of the Constitution is laid on this ground, that all powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states or to the people. Okay? And it is affirmed that the power of erecting a corporation is not included in any of these enumerated powers. So what is he saying? Well, Thomas Jefferson has a very strict interpretation of the Constitution. Anything not specifically stated in the Constitution is not a power that the government has. Okay, but you can see here that Alexander Hamilton is saying that just because the Constitution doesn't specifically say it does not mean that it is prohibited. So you can see that Hamilton here is talking about the implied powers of the Constitution, whereas Thomas Jefferson would be specifically focusing on the expressed powers of the Constitution, where it's like, Thomas Jefferson would say there's no room for interpretation of the Constitution. Constitution only has the power that is explicitly stated. And then you can also see that a little bit further down, he kind of makes that same point again, which is super important. It is not denied that there are implied as well as expressed powers, that the former are as effectually delegated of the latter. Okay, so this is the portion of my document that I'm going to zoom in on to make my claim that a national bank is constitutional according to Alexander Hamilton. So when you finish this, you're going to save this with your highlighted marks and with your annotations, and you are going to upload this document to the Canvas page. So once you finish, make sure that you save it, and you're going to upload that document. If you want full points for your research, you need to do this for 3 separate documents. Okay, and if you're having trouble finding information regarding the topic, remember, you're not limited to just Hamilton. Okay, you can use any of those people on that list to bring in outside information to support your argument regarding a national bank.